Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is AJ and today I'm going to be talking about 50, 30 and 20 rule of budgeting. I promised you guys that I'll be sharing with you these tips and here I am today. So today I'm going to break down this rule and why it works, some of the common mistakes people usually make when it comes to this 50, 30, 20 rule of budgeting, and also share how to use this rule. So let's get into it. So when we talk about this 50, 30, 20% rule, it's just clear, it's just simplified. This is whereby you budget your money according to this rule after your total income. Let's say you take 50% of your income to go to your needs. 50% stand for your needs, the things that you can't survive without, like maybe rent, transportation, utilities, electricity, your insurance, maybe let me say bills, really important bills that you have to take care of. That goes to that point. And 30%, this is whereby 30% actually after you have deducted 50% of your income, you'll have 50, remaining 50. So the 30% now goes now to your wants, the things that you can actually do without, but you really need them for you to be comfortable, like shoes, maybe going out for fun, maybe a trip that you plan with some friends. You have to also take care of that budget, because to be honest, we are working so hard so that the money we have, the money that we earn, can actually help us enjoy the life that we're living. So you have to make sure that you also cover your wants. Now this can go to fun, this can go to any other businesses that are non-essential but you really need them, like buying yourself really good clothes, maybe a fancy watch, maybe these kind of things, and we have 20% that is left. Now this is whereby after we have deducted 50, we have deducted 30, and now we have 20. The remaining 20 can go to your saving or can go to your debt repayment. Maybe you want to save for something you want to buy in future. Let's say you want to buy a house in future, so that 20% can go on that point. And also maybe you want to save for a retirement plan. Maybe you want to save that money so that you can invest. Now this 20% now stand for your future goal, like maybe an emergency fund that you want to add on. This is where the 20% comes in. So it's just simplify as that. 50% to your needs, the needs that you can't survive without. 30% go to your wants, non-essential things, but they you really need them for you to be comfortable, to be like a normal human being, and the rest now 20% goes to your saving or debt repayment or saving up, maybe, or investment, something like that. So this 20% sounds like a little bit less, but it's actually, this is whereby it changes everything when it comes to your financial status, because if the more money you save, the more money you keep, on 20% part, that is actually going to help you in the future, like the emergency fund, maybe saving up, repaying your debt, something like that. Saving for your retirement plan now goes to 20%. But mind you guys, these are just numbers. They can be adjusted, and I'll be talking more about that in my next point. So before I go further, there's a really important point I want to emphasize here, and I'll be talking about why this rule works, because it's one of the widely used rule of budgeting. So when we talk about this, why it works, the first reason why it works is that it's simple. It's just simple. It's not a formula. It's not a rule that is very complicated for you to understand. You just ensure that you have 50% on your needs, 30% on your wants, and the rest on your saving or repayment date, or maybe creating an emergency fund or investing on something else. It's just as simple as that. This rule of budgeting works because it has a balanced approach. It balances, from your needs to your wants, to your saving, to your repayment of your debt, creating emergency fund, maybe investing. It is really balanced. when you just look at it, especially it emphasizes on the most important things. Those are the needs. It covers them all, and the wants, it also ensures that you also have money. You are creating a budget, but you also have money to have fun, to enjoy yourself, to reinvest in your growth at the same time, maybe to treat yourself as well, because those are really important ones, because they're going to motivate you to keep on working so that you can earn more money, so that you can, keep taking yourself to the another level of your financial status, maybe hitting your goal of attaining financial freedom. That's what we're all about. So it's really balanced, and it's a really balanced approach, because you actually don't have to burn yourself out while budgeting, because you still have space. There's an adjustment you can make on every percentage that you have on your income, which makes it really balanced approach. So budgeting without constraints, budgeting without punishing yourself, and that's why this rule works. This rule of 50, 30, and 20 works because it is flexible. The numbers that you have, 50%, 30%, and 20%, that are actually adjustable. You can adjust them according to your how your income is. You can adjust them according to your needs, to your wants. Let's say if you have more needs than wants, you can actually take the 50% to 60%, and the rest maybe on the wants part, because you have less wants. You have less wants. Like maybe you're a minimalist like me. Maybe you'll prefer having 20% on the other part of wants, and you have 20% on the other parts of saving and debt repayment. It's just simple as that, and that's why this rule works, with the flexibility of you adjusting every angle without affecting your original income after taxes. For you to start applying this rule of 50, 30, and 20% rule, actually you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to have gone through economics and statistics for you to be able to budget yourself using this rule. It is widely used, and that's why it's really appropriate. It's widely used by by young people who are actually, even those with families tend to use this rule, because it fits in literally every category. Every kind of person can use this rule. So that's what makes it really easy. So many people use this rule, and that's why it's one of the famous rule of budgeting that you can incorporate in your finance to ensure that you don't use too much money on things that you actually don't need. Let's talk about how you can use this rule, how to use it so that it doesn't mess up your entire budget. You have to know how to use it. So the first step, before you start using this rule, you have to ensure that the income that you have to deduct your tax, calculate after tax income, and that's what you're going to work with. And after that, you have to make sure that you categorize your expenses. You make sure you categorize your expenses appropriately. Your needs, make sure they are clearly written down, and your wants are clearly written down. That is going to save you lots of time when it comes to drafting the entire budget. And the other thing is you have to make adjustments. If you see that your needs are going to be more than 50%, make sure that you adjust that number. Don't just use it blindly, because it can affect your entire budget. It can either make the budget really strict, and that it can even you can even miss up on some of the things that you really want to buy, or maybe you want to treat yourself, or maybe you want to buy someone a gift. You can actually miss that because the budget is really tight. So you have to ensure that you adjust the percentages according to your needs and wants, and that's how you use it. Calculate after tax income, and after that categorize your expenses, and the last part is actually making adjustment on the percentages if it's not aligning with everything that you're planning to write on your budget. That's how it works. Let's talk about the common mistakes that people usually make when using this 50, 30, and 20% rule of budgeting. The first mistake people usually make is actually forgetting to calculate after income taxes. You have to the income that you earn, you have to make sure that you have calculated your taxes, you have deducted your taxes from that, and you have the final number to work with. Don't start just using this rule without deducting the taxes from your total income. So that's the first mistake people usually make on this rule. If you make such a mistake, because the final number that you're going to have it's not going to work. This rule mainly depends on how you classify your needs, your expenses. You know, the moment if you get it wrong on the part of classifying your needs and your wants, it's going to mess you up. It's really going to mess you up in a way that you'll find yourself maybe spending more money on your wants than on your needs. It's going to be the opposite way, and if it goes the opposite way, you have actually ruined your entire budget. So make sure that you have the right classification of your needs, of your wants, the expenses. Make sure they're clearly classified before you start writing them down, because this is going to help you. This is going to prevent you from making mistake or maybe putting too much money on your wants than needs. So another mistake that people usually make when using this rule is not accounting for irregular expenses. You know, the expenses that usually come, that are usually hidden, you know, they usually come in between those months. Maybe it can be on Mondays, maybe on weekends. Especially on weekends, people tend to use lots of money because they need to have fun, and you're going to find out that the little irregular expenses that usually take care of, you are not including them in your budget. That actually can mess everything up, because if you just subtract even a dollar on your main budget, on the part of your wants, maybe on the part of your needs, it's going to affect the entire budget. And this is a mistake you have to avoid. So make sure that the irregular purchases, the irregular expenses, they usually take care of in the weekends, especially in the weekends. Guys, take care of that in the weekends. Make sure it's accounted for in your budget before you do anything else. This is a mistake, so avoid that. And this rule is going to work out for you. The other mistake that people usually make when using this rule is not actually adjusting the percentages. Yeah, guys, it's a rule that says 50, 30, and 20, but you actually can make adjustment, and that's why I told you guys, this rule is just it has a balanced approach. So you can tweak the numbers. If they don't work at your advantage, tweak them out. You can even allocate 60% on your needs, 20% on your wants, and 20% on your saving, on maybe debt repayment, or maybe that creating that emergency fund, or maybe, you know, you can adjust these numbers. But if you don't adjust these numbers, and your budget doesn't align, your income, let me say your income doesn't align with everything that you've written down, it's actually going to cost you rather than build you. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is the overall layout of this rule and how it goes. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel because it's all about finance and empowering you as an individual to become the financial beast you always want to be. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like and share the video to your friends who want to make a use of this rule. See you guys in the next one. Peace. Bye.